With Joe Flacco being traded to the Broncos and Antonio Brown requesting a trade, how is this going to affect our Jets?
Jets, 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 Jets!
If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget I am doing a poster giveaway, so leave a comment on this video down below to be qualified. All right, so first up, Joe Flacco gets traded for a mid-round pick from the Baltimore Ravens to the Denver Broncos. So what do I think of that? Well, I think they basically got the same quarterback. Just one has a Super Bowl ring and the other doesn't. So obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Flacco. I think he's a statue in the pocket. I think his style of quarterback play is being pushed out of the NFL. I think that's a big reason why you saw them go with Lamar Jackson instead of him. Now, in terms of cap hit, the Ravens do have to eat the signing bonus that they did pay him initially, so his cap hits for the Broncos are only going to be $18.5 million and $20 million over the next 2 years. And after next year, after the 2020 year, they will be able to cut Flacco without any cap ramifications. Otherwise, he's due $24 million that final year. Now, it sounds like they'll probably rework the contract a little bit, but if it stands as is, 18.5 isn't terrible for your starting quarterback in the NFL. So what happens with Keenum in all this? The team will save $18 million if he's traded, or they will cut him for a savings of $10 million. So depending on what happens, obviously a team could trade for him if they feel highly enough about him. I don't know how realistic it is. I don't know what his market is in terms of quarterback play. One team I would look out for would be the Giants in terms of who could get him. He's not going to require a high pick to get. I think if they were to cut Eli Manning and bring in Keenum, obviously that reunites him with Shermer. So I think that could be a fit in terms of team. And then obviously the Giants could still go quarterback in the draft. Keenum would not prevent them from taking a quarterback, I don't believe. So where does that leave the Broncos? They've been rumored to have interest in Drew Lock and trading up possibly from the 10th pick up into the top 5. Now, with getting Flacco, I don't think that prevents them from taking a quarterback. I think it makes them feel more comfortable with staying in their current slot than trading up. So that might cause issues with us trying to move back if we did want to move back with Denver. It'll be interesting to see. I think Drew Lock would be a good pick for the Broncos. I don't think Flacco is anything great. I feel bad for Broncos fans a little bit. But anyway, whatever. All right, so on to the news of Antonio Brown requesting a trade. Now, Antonio Brown's an interesting character. He has averaged a ton of yards and a ton of catches and a ton of touchdowns over his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's an argument to be had for the Jets to go after Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and make them both Jets because we've been so dry on weapons over the last 10 years or whatever. Now, that said, what will it take to get Antonio Brown? The Steelers are going to have to eat $21 million of his signing bonus this year if they trade him. So there's really no financial gain for them to move him other than, hey, we would like to get rid of you. We don't want your headache in the locker room. Now, are the Steelers likely to do that, or what would it take to get him from the Steelers? The Jets own the 3rd overall pick, and I believe the Steelers have the 20th. So you're looking at possibly trading first-round picks to acquire Brown. So maybe if you want to fall back 17 picks, that roughly puts that trade value at about, I think, a 10th overall pick. And obviously, if you're getting that kind of production over the next however many years, it would be totally worth it. I don't know if it's a good idea. I think for me, the issue I have is that he had the opportunity to play in his team's most important game of the season to get them into the playoffs, and he threw the biggest hissy fit and did not play, didn't show up to practice. So as far as a Jet fan goes, I'm hesitant to go after him. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess, as far as talent-wise goes. So talent-wise, he's a home run. I don't believe in paying someone $21 million when they're not going to be there for your most important game, especially when you have a bunch of young players that are coming up for contracts that would probably get their nose out of whack if they saw that's how they can act to get that kind of money. So for me, I wouldn't touch Brown. I think he's better off going to an NFC team, whether that's the 49ers that he's been rumored to, maybe Dallas, whoever. It'll be interesting to see for sure. I think it's going to have major fantasy implications. I don't really think it's going to affect the Jets that much. honestly, if it were me, I would love to see the Steelers really stick it to Brown and kind of do what they did with Bell last year. I think it would be funny to see him go into camp and be like, hey, you know what? Brown, guess what? You're going to have to report to camp. We're not trading you. We're not cutting you. So now he's got to go back and face his teammates after everything he did at the end of last season. And I don't know if he'd be willing to do that. In which case, if he doesn't show up, he's going to have to start paying back some of that money to the Steelers. So the Steelers actually hold all the cards. So if they really wanted to kind of blackball him, they really could. I don't know what they'll do with him, I guess. There's a lot of moving pieces in this sort of situation. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want us to trade for Brown, or how do you want us to acquire him? What do you think it'll take? Yeah, as always, guys, go Jets.